Hello, welcome to another live stream class, and what a wonderful way to start a live stream then with money. I mean, seeing all of you here, but we have a donation from Hyunwoo, Mr. Hyunwoo Shi. Thank you. Well, our first donation today. Of course, again, welcome everyone to the live stream. Hyunwoo, that is. Speaking of which, we did a collab in Korea, and I finished editing it, and I think it's gonna go up on my channel. Let's see when's that gonna be? Is that next Friday? Yeah, next Friday. So not this week Friday, but the next Friday. It's already scheduled to go up. So everyone, make sure to check that out. Look forward to that. We did a couple collabs while in Korea, and that was my portion of it. Let's see who's here. I haven't even seen who's in the chat yet. It's like waking up and then someone like punches you right in the face. You got to take care of that first. Thank you. Oh, wow. Dabbing, holding this tablet and dabbing is actually kind of a workout. It's like carrying weights and you go jogging. It's kind of like the same idea. So maybe I should get a weighted, like I should bring a weight and do dabs while holding the weight, you know, for extra exercise, I guess. Or what? Let's see who's here. Okay. Yes, so many dabs. That's right. I always try to do a dab per dollar donation in US currency, you know, give or take a little bit. I'm not that picky about it. But yeah, I started doing that last week, and it's been great exercise. I've so far, since doing all these dabs, I've lost 0 pounds, gained 0 muscles, but it's fun. So I'm going to keep doing it. Super Teshiro Shijak. Start with a super chat. Nice. Super chat. Did you see the, I don't know if I'm promoting movies here, but I'm getting excited about the new Spider-Man movie coming out. It should be fun. I guess because I'm a fan of the original 3 that came out, especially the second one that came out back when I think I was in high school. Yeah, like 2002, 2004, something like that. Anyway, okay, yeah. Welcome everyone. If you are here, and if you are new, well, if you're listening, then you are here, and if you're new, I always start these live streams right on time at 2. So before 2 o'clock, we have time just to, you know, say hi. You can read the prerequisites. You have enough time to actually do the prerequisites today, at least one of them, before you take this lesson, since this is kind of going into the intermediate level. It's not difficult, but it's a little bit more than the basic form. You need to know this form before today's lesson, or you might be kind of wondering like, well, what about this, Billy? I thought it meant toward or using. Well, that is what you need to know before we do this lesson. We're going to be learning a lot more on top of that, because frankly, this is one of those topics where when I research it for doing the live stream, I wasn't able to find as much information about it as I would have liked to. There are actually many uses of uro. And some of them are not quite as necessary to know separately because they're only in a few cases. Others of them, there are some major different uses. In fact, through my research, I was able to locate, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 major uses of uro. Although there are more, I kind of condensed them. So it wasn't just like, you know, having like, oh, it's kind of like this one. I condensed it. Anything that was similar, I put it together. I was able to get 9, but there are actually more than that. We're just not going to be talking about all of them today. And we're going to be going in depth about 1, 2, 3, 4 today. 4 we're going to be talking about in depth, in addition to these 2, which you should already know. So just make sure you're aware of that before we start the lesson. That way you're not lost. The most common usage when you see uro, the most common usage people are talking about is going to be one of these, toward a location or using some sort of object. And I'll also do a really quick review of those during the lesson today, but just make sure you're familiar with those before going on to these still very common but less fundamental uses of uro. Yes. Okay, let me just check the chat again. Okay. Milk Jugs. Hi, Bill. Nice name. Hi, Billy. My wife's Korean, and you help me communicate better with her family. Nice. Awesome. I hope that through learning Korean that you don't just enjoy. What am I trying to say? I hope that you can get something out of your Korean knowledge. I hope that it's not just studying for you. I hope that you can actually use it for something, because that's really why you're learning how to speak Korean, so that you can speak Korean, right? So it's always cool hearing when people are able to get some sort of, you know, useful use out of knowing Korean, not simply just, oh, you know, I learned this many words, but I was able to use, you know, these words, and I was able to have an actual conversation. That's always the best thing about language learning, right? Is actually using what you're learning. Because story time, before I was doing Korean, of course, I studied French in high school I did 4 years of high school and 2 years of college. And I also did Japanese on my own for about a little over 3 years. And, you know, I wasn't able to use Japanese though for my first year and a half. I like barely could really do anything with it except like say I knew this word or I knew this phrase. It wasn't until I actually started using it with some friends, and that was actually when I started to feel like this is cool. Just knowing it is only part of the whole thing, the whole process. The other half, or maybe even 90% of it, most of it, is getting to use what you're learning. So always kind of keep that in mind. Like what am I able to use Korean for? No matter what level you're at, what things can I actually use it for in my actual life? So keep that in mind. I hope to be fluent in Korean soon. And then you put a slanted face like you're not quite sure. Yeah, fluency is a different thing. Like I said, there's no official definition of what is fluent. And someone might be fluent in a specific topic. I certainly sound fluent when I'm just talking with regular people. But then if you put me you put me in front of a stand in front of a lot of people, I have to give a speech, then, well, I'm not fluent anymore. In fact, I'm not sure if I know what's going on anymore. Or, if you try to put me in an operating room and start asking me to hand you, medical tools, I'll be like, I don't know. Just kind of keep your goals realistic. So instead of something like, I want to be fluent in Korean, something that might help you be more motivating to you would be, I want to be able to have a conversation about something. Maybe you just want to say, I want to have regular daily conversations with people. Well, you don't have to be a master in Korean to do that. You can just learn basic conversation skills and do that. You don't need to be like fluent, being able to translate for a movie director or anything like that. You can just talk. So, and yes, if you've just arrived, we will be starting here in 8 minutes. Oh yes. So before we start, a few quick announcements. There are worksheets and outlines for all of these live streams available on Patreon. If you are a $1 Patreon member even, or any more than any amount, $1 or more. If you're just a Patreon, you get access to all of the outlines from all of the streams, as well as all of the worksheets that I've made. There is a worksheet for this one. Usually the worksheets are translation practice. So it's kind of like just a worksheet, right? You can practice using the form often that we're learning. Often it'll be sentences that are a little bit too long to fit in the live stream, or maybe a little bit too complicated to fit in the live stream. So it's good practice. After I've taught you the basics of a form, you might feel like, okay, well, I get the concept now, I get the idea, but how can I actually see some, more complicated or more real world sentences? That's what the worksheets are for, because they're often the sentences I'd either come up with, or I'd bug my wife to give me a few extra sentences. And after I put in all the ones that I want, I'd have a bunch of extra ones left over that they're good sentences, but they don't work as well for teaching the concept. Or maybe they'd have an extra grammar form in there that I'm not trying to focus on. So, I kind of break them down and get the most important ones in the lesson. And today I think there's 14. And then every one extra that we had, that I came up with during the lesson, or every extra one that isn't used, those ones go into the worksheet. So practice with those. They're usually more complicated, I said, than the ones that we get during the lesson. So check those out. Those are for all Patreon members. Also, if you are a member of this channel, which many of you are, if you're a member, make sure to check out the abridged version of all of these live streams. The same, the same night that they stream. So after this live stream's over, about 3-4 hours or 5 hours after it's finished, you can go onto my YouTube channel and watch this whole video again, edited down to like 10 to 15 minutes usually. So if you want to have a quick review, or maybe you missed the classes, you can't go to them, but you don't want to have to wait until like the next week and Wednesday or Thursday to watch it. That's for all of the members. All of you have access to that. I also got another one of these. This is my last one. Kimchi energy. Actually, if I hold it close, you can't read it. It doesn't focus. I had one of these last time. It was actually really good. I'm not paid by them. They didn't even give this to me for free. They don't even know who I am. I just bought them myself because I heard about them. So yeah, it's a kimchi energy drink. And I had it last time. I thought it tasted pretty good. Oh no, got all over my hand. Uh-oh. Hold on, let me wipe that off. Wipe it off on my pants. That's what pants are for. No, I'm gonna wipe my hands really quick. Wash my hands. Hold on. Okay. got kimchi all over my hands, right? You know, you don't want to have carbon. I always hate when I get carbonated kimchi all over my hands, don't you? Tastes like strawberry with like a hint of cabbage, I guess. Okay. Do they sell those at H Mart? I don't think so. I got this in Korea. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. I actually wish I was sponsored, but I wish they would send me some of these for free because I can't buy them in the US. I bought it while I was in Korea. Danny D. Billy having trouble with English today. I have trouble with English every day. I often trip over my words or I'll say the wrong thing. It's pretty normal. It doesn't really bother me. Is this a commercial? Yes. Do 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 Kimchi, the fresh maker, I guess. Right? Yeah. No, I like it. It's pretty good. I have to have I usually have a little bit of caffeine whenever I need to like focus on something or I need just a lot of energy. And so that ends up being whenever I'm doing these live streams, about once a week, I'll have a caffeinated drink. So yeah, this is the last one though. I'm kind of sad. I wish I had more. Okay, so, and other announcements are make sure to check out our Discord channel. It's open 24/7. There are lots of people in there. It's usually most active around the live stream days, but you can go in there any day and there will be someone to help you. There will be someone to talk with if you say anything. Even if it's quiet, you can just ask a question and someone will probably answer. A lot of people just kind of hang out and check to see if anyone's doing anything. And yeah, that's open, completely free, and you can join. There's a link in the description of the video. Also, other announcements. We have some new merchandise. You can actually see this already on the top of the chat. There is a Kiket dabbing shirt. There will be a couple other things coming soon as well, but that's what we have so far. Okay, so we still have about 2 minutes left before we start the lesson. So if anyone's wondering, like, what is Billy doing just like babbling on about kimchi soda and, you know, all these random things, this is what I do before we start the class. We still have 2 minutes left before I become a serious teacher, right? The thumbnail should include the kimchi drink. Christophe Dussert. Bonjour, Billy. Bonjour, Christophe. Yeah, I cannot speak French. Like I said, I did French for, I guess it was 5.5 years, almost 6 years. Between high school, I did all 4 years. I did the AP French. I didn't take the test, but I did the class. And then I did it through college as well, just because it was, you know, easy credits. I can't speak like a word of French. Like I can understand if someone's speaking French like slowly. I can kind of get what they're talking about, but I can't say like even the most basic thing. Like I can't even say like I can say like I studied French. J'ai étudié. You can't even say that. J'ai étudié le français. Like, you know, I sound horrible. So that's what 6 years of not paying attention in French class gets you. Bonjour Christelle, ça va? C'est quoi Christelle? Je ne sais pas. Ça va très bien, merci. I like doing the fake French sound though. I know no one actually talks like that. I just like it. I think it's a part of what I liked about French was like the really strong like Parisienne, like the Paris man accent, I guess. I just liked it. It was cool. Parlez-vous anglais? No one talks like that. Except me. I'm the only one who talks like that. Okay. All right, this is now French class. Bienvenue à mon I'm like, what's the word for class in French? Classe? I almost said suop. I could just speak French with a Korean accent. Maybe we could do that. Be like, 어서오세요. 어서오세요. Okay. Let's start. Okay. So we're going to be learning again about the particle 으로. Now, what is 으로? Well, the way it works is you take a noun and you attach 으로 if it ends in a consonant, if that noun ends in a consonant, or you attach simply 로 if that noun ends in a vowel, or if that noun ends in this letter known as 릴. So if you have a word like 집 becomes 집으로. If you have 학교 for school, becomes 학교로. That's all there is to it. And I'll see you guys again next week. No. My job will be so easy. That's like literally all I do. I'll make a new program called like One Step at a Time Korean. And you'll literally learn like one thing at a time. And take like 500,000 episodes before you can say like hello. Okay. So there are two major uses for this particle, and I don't even know if I want to say particle. It's more like a grammar form, but I guess it's technically a particle. There are two major uses for this form, and we've already talked about them before. So I'm just going to do a really quick refresher, just so you know what I'm talking about. This particle, 으로, is commonly used to mean toward, as in to, when you're going to a location. So then what's the difference between 으로 and 에? You should already know this. But just as a quick reminder, using 으로 to mean toward instead of using 에 emphasizes the direction that a movement is going. Whereas just using 에 emphasizes simply that's the location where something is going to, or the location where something is already. So when you use 으로 to mean a direction, it shows that you're going toward that direction. Kind of imagine just the image of angling yourself toward in a direction, more so than 에, which is simply you are going there, that is the location, that is the destination, instead of like that. So that's the major difference. So it emphasizes that you are heading toward, so I'll write that down here. Heading. So it emphasizes that you're heading to a location. Not just that you're going there, but that's where you're heading as well. And there are reasons why you would want to use one or the other. And for that, please watch the live stream I did about this. It's actually very short, and you'll learn about this, how it's used and why you do that and everything like that. Okay, the second main use of the particle, the second main use of this is to mean using. And this is a larger topic than learning about toward, because this shows the tool. Actually, let me write it up here. This shows the tool, method, means, material, machine, or channel by which something happens. So you might say something like, I rode by bicycle. That's a really terrible example because it sounds awkward in English. You might say something like, I wrote an essay using or with a pencil. That's your tool. Or using a different method. Or I spoke using Korean. I spoke in Korean. I made a book out of paper, material, like that. I wrote a letter by email. Or I fixed a computer with a screwdriver or with a special machine or something like that. So it just shows these sorts of things, how you're doing something, by which something happens. And this is another big topic. It can translate a lot of different ways. You've heard a few. Using, with, out of, on, via, by means of, or even through, depending on the word that you're using it with. And just a really quick note. Although you might see something like, okay, so bus is a vehicle. So it could be like the means by which you go somewhere. So this is just a note. Some people might then often say, some people might then say, well, I got there, I'll take a bus there. I went there by bus. But that's not going to be the most natural way to say by bus in Korean. Literally, this is fine. 버스로, by bus, using a bus. Okay, it doesn't tend to use though in this way though with vehicle. It doesn't tend to be the most natural way of saying that you went somewhere by a vehicle. Like you took a bus. Instead in Korean, they'll say, I took a bus there instead of I went there by bus. And we kind of do the same thing in English actually too. Instead of saying I went there instead of saying I went there by walking, we'll say I went there on foot, or I walked there, even better. I just walked there. So in Korean as well, this kind of thing, although it's fine, it's not grammatically wrong, and it's not that unnatural, it's much less natural than other ways of saying it. And if you watch my live stream where I talk about this udol form, you'll learn exactly how to do that in a more natural way, as well as all of these uses and a lot more. So, okay, this was just a really quick refresher on what we already should know before going into this lesson. So let's get started with some new uses for this form. But first, let's just check the chat. Okay, nice. So, the grammar forms we're going to be learning today are technically still beginner level, but I'm calling them intermediate in this lesson simply because you already need to know the other beginner uses before you should learn these uses. So in that sense, it's more intermediate, but it's not intermediate in the sense that you have to know a lot of Korean to use it. So you should definitely know how to use these forms before you become intermediate. I'll say that. Okay. So the next way you can use this grammar form is after a noun again. You take a noun and you attach udol, just like before. In fact, that's what we're going to be doing with pretty much every single usage of udol will come after a noun. So you take a noun, you attach udol, and now this will mean as. By as, I mean acting as it is, or in the role of, or in the position of, whatever noun it is that you're using. So we rewrite that, wrote it all messy. So in the role of, or in the position of, or this might even translate as for. Now, these translations are just something that you can write down. Don't think about these too much right now. Instead, I want you to think about the actual way that this form is used, because the way that it translates is wildly different, as you can see. As and for, like as for, if you're thinking about this in English, it can get quite confusing, so don't. Write these down for your reference, but don't think about translating these words into Korean as udol. You'll see why once we see how it translates completely differently. For example, you can say, I got that as a present. As a present. Or I worked there as an assistant, or acting as an assistant, or in the role of, or in the position of an assistant. I worked at that company. I ate ice cream today as my breakfast. Literally, yes. I ate ice cream today as my breakfast, but this is an example though in English where we'd say for breakfast. We wouldn't say I ate ice cream for the purpose of breakfast, right? When we say for breakfast, we mean it was breakfast, as in as breakfast. Acting as breakfast, I ate ice cream. So this is that sort of meaning. You're doing something in the role of something. So I had ice cream, and that ice cream was taking the role of breakfast for today. So we would say for. Just note that this is for as in as, not for as in for the purpose of. Like I'm doing it for you, like that. I'm doing it for the purpose of you. I ate ice cream for the purpose of breakfast. No. I ate ice cream as breakfast. Or I signed up as a member at the company. I signed up as a member. I signed up acting as, or in the position of, just a member. So I signed up, but it was in the position of a member. That sort of meaning. This is extremely common. And like I said, just write down these translations for reference, but don't try to use these for translating things back into Korean. It'll get a bit messy. Just use them for helping you to understand when you see something in Korean, how can I translate this naturally back to English in my head? Okay. Everyone doing okay? We're just getting started. Okay, so I need to make a note though. When you're doing this to mean as someone or in the role or in the position of someone, it can only be used when that sentence itself is not only about the noun. This will make a little more sense once I've shown you what I'm talking about. And we'll do an example of how we can do this later on. This form, though, can only be used when the noun that you're using is itself being modified or being described by a verb. So what does this all mean? That sounds confusing. It can't be used when it's not the sentence itself, when it's modified and described by a verb. That's too technical. Let's make this a little simpler. If you're saying something about that noun, like you're saying this noun is good, you're describing that noun. Okay, you're describing it. If you're saying I like this noun, well, you're saying I like it. You're describing it, you're modifying it. Okay, anything you're talking about that noun, it's okay. If you were to say though, as for this noun, let's talk about this noun, that would be incorrect. When your whole sentence is just about the noun and not describing the noun or doing something to the noun, you cannot use this form. That still sounds a bit confusing, I know. I'll give you an example though later on when we talk about how to do this. But for right now, just keep in your mind that there is an exception for this form when you're doing something, keep in mind that there's an exception for this form when you're not doing anything to that noun or when that noun is not being described in your sentence. Specifically, to make this even easier, when you're talking about a work-related position, so things like as a teacher, if you want to say, I worked as a teacher, you can use this form because you're doing something as a teacher, or you might be describing as a teacher. If you wanted to say, as a teacher, I feel that it would be a bad idea, and you're not talking about anything related to as a teacher. You're not doing something as a teacher. You're not doing something to as a teacher or anything like that. You're simply saying as a teacher, as a work-related position, as that, and then saying something completely unrelated to that, just, that's as your position, you're saying this. You will not use this form by itself. In fact, it's actually really easy to work with this. So I'm letting you know there is an exception, but the fix for this exception is very simple. I'll even tell you right now, you'll use 으로 서. 서, you just attach 서 to the end. And we'll show you an example of that a little later. So don't worry about it. Just know there is an exception if you're saying like as a something, then you don't use this form. So that's the simplest way that I can break it down. The reason is this is more of a feeling type of thing than it is just about grammar rules. Because in English, we don't really separate when you're saying I worked as a teacher or as a teacher, right? It's the same thing. But in Korean, that feeling, that meaning, that usage is different. It's distinct, and you have to use a different form for it. So if you're saying I worked as a teacher, you're totally fine. But if you just want to say like my opinion as a teacher, in that sort of sense, as a teacher, you're going to be using a different form. So we'll show you that in a moment later in the lesson. In a moment, but at the end of the lesson. One of those is correct. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But if you accidentally mess up and say 으로, they'll know what you're talking about. Okay, so really quick again, if you wanted to say as an assistant, I did something. Well, that could be incorrect. So, okay, we'll talk about that again a little bit later. It'll make more sense once we go back to it. So let's do our first example sentence. Ran out of space already. Okay. Actually, we'll do future tense. Make it a little longer. 먹을 거예요. Okay. 저는. So I, 점심으로. 점심 means lunch. So 으로. Here, it's not toward or using lunch. It is as lunch. So in the role of lunch, in the position of lunch. So for lunch, 샐러드, salad. 샐러드를 먹을 거예요. Sorry, I almost said the past tense I wrote. 샐러드를 먹을 거예요. So I will eat salad as lunch. For lunch. 저는 점심으로 샐러드를 먹을 거예요. 저는 점심으로 샐러드를 먹을 거예요. So I'm going to eat salad for lunch. It's kind of hard to eat only salad for lunch. Okay. This is the basic usage of it. I have 3 more sentences, but I want to make sure you have it before we even do the other 3 sentences. I want you to make a sentence of your own. You can say what you will eat, what you ate, what you drank, what you want to eat, anything you ate, and any meal. I want you to make your own sentence and write it in chat. While I'm writing the next example, I want you to make your own sentence. Change this. You can keep it or whatever. Change this, or you can keep it. Change this. Or you can just do the exact same thing if you're not confident. Make your own sentence, say it out loud to yourself, and then write it in the chat and share it with me. I'm going to write the next sentence up, though, while you're doing that. One more time. 저는 점심으로 샐러드를 먹을 거예요. So I will eat salad for lunch. I'm going to write the next sentence, and then before I say the next sentence, we're going to look at your sentences. I want to see what you got. Okay. I'm getting hungry now. People getting hungry. I don't want you to write it in English, though. I see a couple, or unless you're just actually saying you're going to have salad for lunch, in which case, yeah, go ahead, say it in English. I'm going to go and have an egg now. Someone asked, One Direction or BTS? Is that really a question? You know the answer. Okay, let's see what your sentences are. First sentence looks like it's from Kenzie. 저는 늦는데 여기. Okay, never mind. I thought you were writing a sentence for the thing. Okay, so 서현 Lee is our first sentence. 저는 아침으로 요거트를 먹었어요. So I ate yogurt for breakfast. Very good. I'm not sure if I have time to read everyone, but I'm going to just kind of scan them really quick. 저녁으로 Kenzie wrote 저녁. It's just a spelling. It should be 저녁. 피자 먹고 싶어요. Very good. Meramimi said, is the for only for 먹다? No, you could do it for drinking or anything like that. Anytime it translates as for in English. So I said, don't think about it as English to Korean because there's too many situations. Think about it just Korean to English that way. If it makes more sense, translate it as for, otherwise don't. But I'm not a professional translator. I'm a teacher, so. 샐러드. A lot of people still eating salad. 비빔밥을 먹었어요. Okay, you had bibimbap. And also Romy spelled dinner incorrectly, so just check on the spelling for that, for dinner. But your sentence is fine. 김밥을 먹었어요. Very good. Let's see, 저는 아침으로 커피를 마셔요. Yeah, I drink coffee for breakfast. 점심으로 냉면 먹었어요. I had 냉면 for lunch. Very good. 점심으로 햄버거를 not 먹고 싶어요. It would be 먹고 싶어요. 고 싶다. So, just checking the sentences. 점심으로 chipotle 먹고 있어. I am eating chipotle. Very good. Using the progressive tense. I am eating chipotle for lunch. I like their chips. Pretty good chips. 저녁으로 김밥을 먹었어요. 저는 한국에서 저녁으로 닭갈비를 먹고 싶어요. Okay. I want to eat 닭갈비. 닭갈비's pretty good. Couscous. You're eating couscous. I used to have couscous all the time for, I had breakfast couscous. So it's not really the regular couscous, but it was so you make it and then you add in like, I think it was like condensed milk. I can't remember, something like that. And then brown sugar, and raisins. Is that right? No. I'm mixing something. I'm mixing rice pudding in my head with something else. I'd have breakfast couscous though, which would have like butter and brown sugar in it, is what I remember. It's pretty good though. Okay, good. I don't have time to check all of them, but I did check a lot of them and they look really nice. So just keep that in mind. The translation is not so important from when you're going to English to Korean. Keep in mind the translation when you're going back to English though. Would this sound better as saying like as or for? Just kind of keep it in your head to help you make sense of it. But literally the meaning is still the same. It's as my lunch. So in the role of my lunch, I ate pizza in that sort of sense. Okay, next sentence. 오늘은 손님으로 온 거예요. 오늘. So today, 손님 is a guest. 손님으로. So as a guest, in the role of a guest. 오다, to come. 온 거예요. So I came here today as a guest. So today, like, for example, if you, what's that show? Undercover Boss? If the boss comes to the workplace and like puts on a disguise, the boss could be like, and then they recognize the boss, they'd be like, the boss could be like, "Oh, 오늘은 손님으로 온 거예요. I'm just here as a guest today. Don't think of me as your boss. I'm just here as a guest." You know, you visit your workplace and you just want to feel what it's like to be a regular customer there and not have to work there, right? So you've come as a guest. 오늘은 손님으로 온 거예요. So I'm just here as a guest today. Literally, again, today, as a guest, in the role of, or in the position of, just a guest. I've come here. So, 온 거예요. I'm here as a guest today. Or, well, it could be someone else, but whatever. We don't have any other context. So, 오늘은 손님으로 온 거예요. So, here. I'm here today as a guest. Okay, let's do another example. I have two more for this form, and we have a lot of sentences today because there are a lot of other forms. Let's get our friend 철수 out here. 철수 씨에게 저는 철수 씨에게 pen. So I'm going to give 철수 a pen as a present. 선물로 줬어요. 저는 철수 씨에게 펜을 선물로 줬어요. So I, 철수 씨에게 to 철수. So I to 철수, pen, just a pen. 펜을 선물 is a gift or a present. So 선물로 means as a gift. 주다, 선물 주다 means to literally to give, 주다, a gift of a pen. So to give a pen as a gift. You can think of the verb 선물 주다 as its own special verb that means to gift. So I gifted or I presented a pen, 펜을 to 철수. So I gave 철수 a pen as a gift is what we would say in English. As a gift, as a present. 저는 철수 씨에게 펜을 선물로 줬어요. So I gave 철수 a pen as a gift. 선물로, as a gift. Let's check the chat here. Sir, you look like Charlie Puth. I wish I got $1 every time someone said I look like Charlie Puth. I wouldn't need to have I wouldn't need to take donations. Him or Andy Samberg is the late ones. I don't see it. But a lot of you see it. I don't see it. I don't think so. My wife doesn't think so. My friends don't think so. But a lot of you think so. I don't get it. But I hear it all the time. And I would love to meet him. I will if I ever meet him or either of them, I'll bring them my hat. I'll have them wear my clothes and I'll film a video of them teaching Korean. What is MX? What is MX currency? I don't know what MX. $200 to US. I always have to convert the currency because I don't know. It's like almost like $10. Oh, thank you. And the board broke. The board broke. Let me fix that. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Let me write your name up here. Give you some dabs, and then I'll read your comment. Daniel. Let's put 10. It's like it shows like 9.9. That's really cool. Thank you. Let's do 10 dabs. Let's check out your comment. Hi, Billy. I was in Suwon around the time you were there. Oh, nice. Yeah, I was in Suwon from the end of May until the first week of this month. Husband and I didn't go all the way up to the Buddha because we thought we had to climb the mountain. I thought I had to climb it too. I was prepared to go up like these really steep steps or to like go up a mountain trail when I was doing the live stream. I didn't expect that it would be accessible. Your work has helped me a lot. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's a very nice message as well. Yeah, I did a live stream in Korea, and there was like a golden Buddha statue behind us the whole time. And at the very end, I'm like, we're going up there. And we went up there. It wasn't actually that long to get there. I think it took like 10, 15 minutes to get there. Whereas I thought it would be like an hour and like hiking and stuff. And wait, okay, I should probably look at my paper before I'm just writing. I was thinking of that and writing, so I added an extra marker that's not even there. Okay, 한국에서 한국어 선생님으로 일했어요. 한국에서 한국어 선생님으로 일했어요. 한국에서 한국어 선생님으로 일했어요. In Korea. 한국에서. So I did something because we have 에서. So something's taking place in Korea. 한국어 선생님. Korean teacher. 으로. So as a Korean teacher, 일하다, to work. 일했어요. I worked. 일했어요. As a Korean teacher in Korea. So I worked as a Korean teacher in Korea. As a Korean teacher, in the role of, or in the position of a Korean teacher, I worked in Korea. 선생님으로 일했어요. If you don't understand the sentence, at least just focus on this part. 선생님으로 일했어요. I worked as a teacher. Then what kind of teacher? 한국어 선생님. Where? 한국에서. So you can just add these parts on if it doesn't make sense. But the main part is this. 선생님으로 일했어요. So I worked as a teacher. 선생님으로 일을 했어요. Okay. So that is all we need to learn for this particle as meaning as. But there are many other meanings for this particle. There are many other grammar forms. There are many other meanings that this grammar form has besides this, though. So let's go on to the next one. And we are actually right on time. Okay, the way it works again is the exact same way. You take a noun, you attach 으로. This, though, is used when you're choosing. I can't do two things at once, like writing and speaking. It doesn't work very well. This one is used when you're choosing among multiple options. So you have several options you can choose, and you're going to go with this one. Fortunately, that might sound a little bit vague. So like, when do you use it? This is used in the same situation as you would use the object marker. So normally you would use the object marker and you would say, I'm going to eat salad. I'm going to get the salad. Something like that. You would say, 샐러드를 할 거예요. 하다. I'm going to do the salad. I'm going to get the salad. In that sort of sense. Like, I'll do the salad for my lunch. That's what I'll pick. Or maybe let's give a better example that doesn't have to require understanding that too. Please give me salad. 샐러드를 주세요. Right? 샐러드, object marker, 주세요. Well, what if you're asking for salad, but you're saying there are actually other options, but of those, I'll take the salad. So give me the salad one. Among the options, give me the salad. That's what it means. So it has the same usage as the object marker in situations when you're choosing among many possible options. So this has the feeling of you're moving toward a choice. Because it uses uro. It has the feeling of you're going toward a direction, as in toward this choice. Like, I know there's a lot of options, but I'm going toward the salad. I'm going to have the salad. Please give me this one. Give me this one over here, the salad. Right? There are many options, but I choose this one. I choose you, Pikachu. Like that. Toward a choice. So you can also think of this as kind of like you're leaning toward a choice. Like, I'm leaning toward a salad. I'm leaning toward a pizza. Can you give me a salad? Like, I'm leaning toward that. Can you give me a salad? Not the other options, but this way. Yeah, I'll take a salad, right? So this is used when you're making a choice among other possible options that you could do. And again, the way it works is just like the object marker. So you'll stick it after the noun. And the way the rest of the grammar in the sentence works is going to be similar to as if you had used the object marker. So let me give you an example. Again, I should state this one doesn't have a specific translation. This one doesn't translate in a special way, like as or for or anything like that. This translates normally just because it could take the place of the object marker. So it doesn't have a special, unique translation you have to learn. Okay, I'm just going to put this in parentheses because you don't actually need it. So you're getting a steak, right? And your favorite steak, you like steak in medium, right? I don't know if you're vegan. It's a vegetable steak. I don't know. You're getting a steak, okay? It's for the example. You're ordering a steak, and you like your steak medium. So you want to say, "Oh, please give me a medium steak." So how would you say that? How would a beginner say, "Please give me a medium steak"? They'd probably say, "medium steak 주세요," right? Or something like that. But you just want to say, that would be wrong. But let's say the waiter asks you, "How do you want to cook your steak?" And you just say, "Please give me a medium." So you would say, medium-er, I'm just going to write this just for an example. So this is how you would normally say that. medium-er 주세요. The object marker, right? Please give me object medium. Please give me a medium. Well, there are other options that you can get for your steak. So what if you don't want to say, "Please give me medium"? That sounds awkward, right? It makes sense, but it sounds awkward. In English, we say, "I'll have a medium," or "Let me get the medium," right? You're like, "Make mine a medium." You kind of want to imply that there are other choices, but I'll have, the one I'm choosing is the medium. So this implies there are other choices, but the one that I'm choosing is this. I'll have mine medium. Make mine medium, please. As in, I know that there's rare. I know that there's well done, although there really shouldn't be a well done. I know that there's rare. I know that there's blue, more than rare. I really like that. So you want to get it as a medium, and you want to imply that there are other options. So I'll have mine medium. Please give me a medium steak. Steaker, and again, this is optional. If you're in a restaurant, you probably wouldn't even say this, because after you've already ordered the steak, then they'll ask you, "How would you like it?" Then you don't need to say, "Please give me a medium rare steak." You just say, "Please give me a medium," or "Please make it medium," right? medium으로 주세요. medium으로 주세요. 스테이크를 medium으로 주세요. So please give me a medium steak. Or if you want, medium rare, or whatever you like. So please give the steak to me medium among other choices that there could be. I want medium. 스테이크를 medium으로 주세요. Okay, that was just one example. Let's do another. This form is extremely useful if you're in Korea and you're a tourist and you're shopping. Let me show you why. say you go into a clothes store and you find the coolest shirt you've ever seen in your entire life. It has my face on it, right? You can't, you just have to buy it. So you want to try it on, but they only have like extra small, like for children, right? So you are like, I really want to try this shirt. So you want to ask the worker there, do you have this in a small? 이 셔츠는, so as for this shirt, small is the name of the size, small. I'm just going to write it like this. Do you have a small? Normally you might think of saying it like this. 이 셔츠는 small이 있어요? Or maybe you want to say small은 있어요. Do you have a small? When you're talking about a choice though, you know that there are other options. Use this particle. small로 있어요? So do you have it in a small? As in, there are other choices. There's a large, like I know there's a medium, I know there's extra large, there's extra small. Do you have this in a small? So it doesn't only replace how the object marker works, it can also replace how any marker works. It simply replaces a marker by showing that you know that there are other options for something when you're saying something. So you could say, small로 주세요. Please give it to me in a small. Or do you have this? 이 셔츠는, so this shirt, do you have it in a small by chance? So you pick your shirt out, you ask the worker, 저기요 혹시 셔츠는 small로 있어요? Do you have this shirt in a small? Or 라지로 있어요? Do you have it in a large? Right? And they're like, 네, small로는 없어요. We don't have it in a small, or whatever they say to you when they reply. 로, it replaces a marker and shows that there are other options, but this is the one you're picking among the other options. So you're saying not just, do you have a small? The end, but you're saying, hey, like I know you have other sizes, but do you have a small? If you were to say small은 있어요, they might say, small은 없지만 라지는 있어요, right? This is a situation why you want to use this. You've just asked, do you have a small? And they say, no, we don't have a small, but we have a large. Well, you knew that. You didn't care. You're wondering, do you have this in a small? Like, I know there are other choices. Do you have it in a small? So this would be better. This would be more natural to say. You get right to the point. You're like, I know there are other options. I want it in a small. Do you have that? Okay. Let's do another example. 음료 means beverage. 음료는, so as for the beverage, that's optional. Cola is cola, so that would be like Coke or Pepsi. 콜라로 주세요. So please give it to me in or as, however you want to think of this. Maybe not as, but it could work, sure. I know that there are other drinks, but please give me a Coke for my beverage. 음료는 콜라로 주세요. So please give it to me. Please give me a Coke. I know you have other options, but please make it a Coke for my beverage. So your waiter asks, what would you like to drink? 콜라로 주세요. 저는 콜라요. For me, cola. Or 저는 콜라로 주세요. Please give me Coke. Uh-oh. I don't want to erase this. Okay. Okay, we're not done. One more example for this form. 저는 빨간색. 빨간색 is red color, so red. 저는 빨간색으로 샀어요. While I'm writing this sentence, so, okay, I just finished writing it. That's fast. I want you to make an example sentence using 으로 to mean this. Now, I don't want you to make it 으로 meaning toward, or 으로 meaning using, or 으로 meaning as, like as in the role of. I want you to write this in this sort of meaning, to show that there is a choice, to show that there is a variety of options, and this is the choice you either are asking someone for, or saying give it to me, or saying do you have it, or saying I'm going to do this, or whatever. Make your own short sentence. Please keep it short, or else if it's long, I won't even be able to look at it because we don't have very much time. Make a short example sentence of your own using any of the things we've used today, any of the types of structures we've used today, but to mean this sort of meaning, that you're choosing something among multiple options. Make your own example sentence. I want to check out to see what you've got so far. Okay. 저는 빨간색으로 샀어요. So, 샀어요. I bought. I bought 빨간색, red. 으로. You're not just saying 빨간색을. You're not just saying I bought the color red. You're not just saying 빨간색 옷, like I bought red clothes. You're saying I bought it, whatever it is, in red. So I bought it in red. As in, I knew there were other colors. I got the one that was in red. So instead of just saying 저는 빨간색 옷을 샀어요, I bought red clothes, you're saying, you could say 옷은 빨간색으로 샀어요, like I bought the clothes in red, but you don't even need to say that. You don't even need to say clothes. It can be assumed from what you're already talking about. You're talking about whatever it is that you bought, and your friend asks you, oh, what color did you buy? 무슨 색으로 샀어요? And you say, 빨간색으로 샀어요. I bought it in red. 저는 빨간색으로 샀어요. So I bought it, whatever it is, in the color red. As in, there are other colors, but that's the one that I chose. That's the one that I went with. Chose. Choosing. Other options. Keep that in mind. I got a donation. I didn't see it yet. SEK. SEK. All these other four currencies. SEK. That is like $4. Cool, thank you. Iman Doski. Iman Doski. Thank you. Iman. Of course, your name is a Korean word. I just want to say thank you for these live classes. Yeah, thank you for coming. And yeah, I'm sure if you ever go to Korea, you'll hear plenty of Koreans telling you that your name is a Korean word. They'll probably say something like 이만 가보겠습니다, which is how you can say like, I'll see you later. I'm going to take off now. I say 이만 가보겠습니다 or 이만 가볼게 or something like that with 이만. Okay. 저는 빨간색으로 샀어요. So I bought it in red. Now I'm going to check the chat and see what other sentences you have. 신발을 샀어요. Okay, actually, let me check here. 물로 주세요. Sorry, I'm just checking a few of the sentences really quick. Mineral water. Okay. 보라색으로 신발을 샀어요. Very nice, Kenzie. Sorry, I'm looking at your sentences here. 초콜릿으로 주세요. I think you're trying to say chocolate. The spelling's wrong, but I understand what you're trying to say. Okay, let me check here really quick. 저는 파란색으로 청바지를 샀어요. Okay, 청바지 would always be in that color, but I guess you could get like dark ones. Yeah. Okay. I got the red ones. 편의점에서 김치 라면으로 샀어요. Okay, I went with, so yeah, and then for a translation, Lauren, excellent sentence. For a translation, Lauren Holton said, 저는 편의점에서, so at the convenience store, 김치 라면으로 샀어요. So I bought kimchi ramen, or a better translation would be like, I went with the kimchi ramen at the convenience store. So you're not just saying I bought it, but you're like, that's what I chose. Like among the other things I could have bought, I went with the kimchi ramen. So that would be 김치 라면으로 샀어요. And that sentence I had here, I went with the red. Like I chose it in that sort of sense. 반찬은 김치로 주세요. So for the side dish, I know there are many options for side dishes, but please give me kimchi. Excellent. 바나나 주세요. 노란색으로 바나나. No, that wouldn't work. Bananas would all be yellow. Unless you're saying like, I want a yellow banana. Like I know there are the black ones over there that you make bread, but I want a yellow one. That could work, but otherwise it wouldn't. 저는 빨간색으로 자동차 샀어요. And typically, when you use, okay, I should give a note about this. When you use this 으로 form like this, like you're doing something, it goes right before the verb. So I see some people putting it, like they'll say like 빨간색으로 옷을 샀어요. I bought in red my clothes. Like it makes sense, but it sounds awkward because it's not the most natural way to order the sentence. you're going to order it the way that the other 4 sentences that I gave you would have it, simply right before the verb. So you would say 빨간색으로 샀어요, or 물로 주세요. And 초록색으로 샀어요, like that. Or 사고 싶어요, whatever it is you want to say. 있어요. So just keep that in mind. But that's why we're doing these sentences. I want to see where are we still missing instruction. Where do I need to fill in the gaps? 공으로 받았어요. For my prize, I got a ball. Okay, very good. It's like when you go to Chuck E. Cheese and you spend like $500 in coupons. So you're like, what can I buy? And the only thing you can afford is like the $30 ball. Chuck E. Cheese. 비싼으로. Lauren Bay, I think you're missing a word because 비싼 is an adjective, as it would be. You have to go before a. You mean 비싼 것, like a thing, would be okay, or 비싼 옷, or something like that. 검은색으로 샀어요. I think you mean 모자 for a hat. 모자를 검은색으로 샀어요. 저는 한국어로 Sarah Summer, that's a different form. Same appearance, same way it works, but different form. There are green bananas too. That is true. There are green bananas. 저는 저녁으로, and again, that's different. 저녁으로 is different, is the other form we just did previously. So keep that in mind, that these all look the same. Toward, using, as, and now choosing. They look the same. They all work the same. Different meanings, different forms. So, okay, let's go to the next form. So the way the next form works, if you're not surprised already, well, I guess if you're still surprised, it works the exact same way as everything we've already been doing. However, this one can translate as into, and it shows that something is changing, as in changing into something. So whatever noun something is changing into, you'll mark it with 으로. Pretty standard. Sounds simple, right? And to make this even simpler, it's only used with verbs that show change. For example, 변하다. 변하다 means to change or transform. You could use it with like 바뀌다, something is changed. You can use it with 바꾸다 for you're changing something. You can use it for 바뀌다, to be changed, or 바꾸다, to change. So transitive or intransitive verbs. 변하다, anything that indicates something is changing to something else. These aren't the only ones. These are just the most common ones you'll see it with. Okay. I have 2 example sentences for this. This one's pretty simple. In fact, I want you to make this sentence. You're going to use the verb 변하다. 변하다 is going to be your most standard for something changes into something else. I want you to say, the snow changed into rain. The snow changed into rain. Changed into rain. Go ahead, make a sentence. The snow changed into rain. I'm going to write it on the board, but I'm going to give you 30 seconds head start. I like slightly green bananas too, but in smoothies they make it too coagulated. Nah, you got to have regular yellow bananas, unless you want to make banana bread. In which case, the older ones, they have a stronger flavor. They have a horrible texture, but much better flavor because they're fully ripe. So when they start getting brown, but not completely brown, but they start getting really brown, then you add them and they make much better banana bread. But green are just, the texture's not good and the flavor's not there right. It's not quite there yet. Chuck E. Cheese, yeah, that's probably one of the last places I want to go to right now. Really good pizza though. Okay, let's check, see what you're all writing. 눈이 비로 변했어요. Very good, Summer. And everyone else copy that. I'm just really quickly scanning. I can't read them out loud, but I am looking at all of your sentences. Very good. Okay, you got it. You got it. This is all you really need to know for this one usage. But it's very common though. You'll see this sort of usage all the time, even though it's so simple. So it might even be fine just to memorize it as its own thing. You might also sometimes see other verbs used with it too, but they could be less common. One that you might see is 되다, but it kind of sounds a little bit unnatural, like to become, like it became something. This one's not actually that common. Instead, you're going to use 변하다 most of the time if you want to say something became something else, like something changed into something in that sort of sense. 되다 would be if you just want to say I became something or that became something, not changed into something. So you wouldn't use that with 으로. You'd use that with just the subject marker like normal. Okay, that was a tangent. So let's do the snow changed into rain. 눈이, so the snow, 비로, into rain. And I'm just going to use 바뀌다, but you could use 변하다. 바뀌었어요. So it changed into rain. So 눈이, the snow, 비, rain. Oops, I got a donation. Oh wow, hold on, stop the presses. I didn't say stop the light. Okay, turn that off. It's not responding. There we go. Wow, Catherine Zagranic. How you say that? Zagranicni. That's as close as I'm gonna get. Wow, Catherine, thank you so much with a $40 donation. It's so kind of you. I'm a Korean adoptee trying to learn Korean. Oh, wow. Your lessons have been invaluable to me. Each video makes me feel a little closer to being able to talk to my biological family without a translator. Thank you so much. Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. I'm glad I could help. I know that a lot of people are Korean ethnicity. You know, they'll have Korean parents, or maybe they're born in Korea and they emigrated to another country at a young age, and they kind of want to connect again, you know, with their roots. I get that. I think that's really sweet, and I wish you the best of luck to get to where you want to be with your Korean goals. So thank you so much. And now I got to do 40 dabs. 40 dabs really quick, and then I'm going to explain the sentence. Wow, that's hard doing them fast. Okay, 눈이 비로 바뀌었어요. So the snow, 눈, into rain, 비, 바뀌다, to be changed, to change into the rain. So the snow changed into rain. 눈이 비로 바뀌었어요. So first it was snow, and then it warmed up a little bit. So 눈이 비로 바뀌었어요. Okay. And I have one more example sentence for this form. We're not done with this usage yet, although hopefully you get it by now. But I have one more anyway. Well, let me just write this sentence up first so you can have time to look at it. And then I have another donation I have to check. Actually, while I'm checking that donation, translate this sentence into English. Try to translate this sentence into English while I check out to see who just donated. So we can kill two birds with one stone. Mirror, Kate Ann says. Hey, Mirror, thank you. All of you are, you're going to give me a nice dinner tonight. I'm gonna get a nice dinner tonight. No, I'll probably have to buy more markers, and running low. I only have 2 more of these blue ones and like 3 more of these black ones, and I change them every week, as well as the erasers. Cool, thank you. Let's see what you wrote. I'm a total beginner at learning Korean, but I'm enjoying this live class. I'm barely learning Hangul from your 90-minute Learn Hangul video. So barely, yeah, that's a good way to describe it. That's probably where me too when I had been studying Korean. Oh yeah, let me not block it. That's me too when I was learning Hangul. I studied it for, you learn it in a couple hours, but you don't really learn it for a while after that. And yeah, I kind of felt the same. Like, I guess I know the alphabet now, but I can't read anything. I don't know what anything says. So thank you. I appreciate that. Let me give you 10 dabs. See, everyone's trying to translate this, I hope. Give you another 10 seconds. 10 seconds to translate. See if anyone's already written any. Let's see here. Yeah, 바뀌다 is the intransitive form. If that doesn't make sense, you're like, what's transitive and what's intransitive? That is just a type of verb. Transitive would be a verb that does something to something else. So like you can kick something, or you could just kick. You can eat something, but something that's intransitive is something that doesn't affect, you're not doing something, but simply that noun does it itself. For example, 열리다, to open. You're not saying I'm 열리다, a door, you're saying a door opens, like it just opened. Maybe because someone kicked it, it opened, but it opened, not I opened it. That's a different verb, 열다, to open. So there's different verbs like that in Korean. I have a lesson about them on my YouTube channel. You can check the Korean FAQ series for the word intransitive, and you'll find how that works. So this is just the 바꾸다 is the transitive version, and 바뀌다 is the intransitive version. With this lamp, night changes into day. Very good. Yes. If we have this light, we can change night into day. Yep, Summer. With just this light, you can turn night into day. Like it's so dark, so bright, it makes the dark room bright. That's exactly correct, Summer. The night changes to day with this lamp. Yep, it's kind of like it's a salesman. A salesperson would be saying this. 이 전등만 있으면, so if you only have this 전등, this light, 밤, even night, 밤도, not is day. 낮으로, so into day, the night, even the night into day, 바꾸다, to change. 바꿀 수 있어요. You can change even the night into day if all you have is this light. So literally kind of like that. Or if you just have this light. So with only this light, you can even change night into day. So it's like a salesperson pitch. 이 전등만 있으면 밤도 낮으로 바꿀 수 있어요. 이 전등만 있으면 밤도 낮으로 바꿀 수 있어요. So if all you have is just this, if you just have this light, you can change even the night into day. And of course it like doesn't work and the batteries die after like a week, But when they demonstrate it to you, it'll work really good. And they have a lifetime warranty, but the company just dissolves every few years and changes its name, so they don't have to honor any of those. I know how it works. Okay. I was trying to buy looking for a sofa before I went to Korea. So back in March, before I went to Korea, I was thinking about getting a sofa for my place because I don't have a sofa. I have a futon that I bought back in like 2014 from Target for $100. And it's like broken in like 3 places, but it kind of works. So I'm like, let me just get a real sofa. So I went to the store and they're like, yeah, we have sofas and lifetime warranties. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, like if it gets stained, we'll replace the part. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, if you sit on it too hard and it breaks, we'll replace it. I'm like, that sounds incredible. But I can't buy anything right now. I need to go on a trip. I'll look when I come back. So I came back. I get a notice in the mail that says they're going out of business. Lifetime warranty. Yeah. Okay. 이 전등만 있으면 밤도 낮으로 바꿀 수 있어요. So, with only this light, you can even change the night into the day. Okay. So, let's do the next form. Don't be surprised, but the way this works is you take a noun and you attach uro to the end. So the way it works is the exact same as the other ones, but this has another different meaning. This one's also very common, and that is due to. By that I mean it shows that this noun is the cause or the reason for something that happened. So it can translate to, this can translate in several ways. You can have due to, you can have from, you can have for, show you. You can have because of, I know you can't really read this very much, because of, or you can even have with. But the main point is not how it translates into English. The main point though, excuse me. The main point though is not how it translates into English. It's that it means the cause or the reason is this noun. So the cause of something, it was caused by that noun, because of that noun. That's the reason for something that happened. So let me give you an example sentence. And again, there are more examples of all of these forms in the worksheet. So if you feel like, oh, I really just wanted like one more sentence or two more sentences, Billy, check out the worksheet. There are more in there, so you can definitely practice with those. 여긴, so 여기는. Let me just write it up first. 여긴, so 여기는, here, 팥빙수. 팥 is like the red adzuki beans. So it's like sweet, those like red beans, you know. 빙수 would be shaved ice. So it's that shaved ice with those sweetened red beans. They have it in Korea, 팥빙수. So you could search it on the internet if you want to see what it looks like. It's hard to explain it. Basically, it's just a pile of shaved rice with like pot on top of it, and they'll put like syrup, and sometimes they'll have other fruits. They'll have like fruit versions of it, anything. Anyway, 여긴 팥빙수로 유명해요. 유명하다 means to be famous. So this place is famous due to, because of, for 팥빙수. This place is famous for shaved ice. So this place is famous for its shaved ice. So this is how you say somewhere is famous for something. You could say like LA is famous for Hollywood movies, right? You could say Seoul is famous for, you know, 경복궁 or Korean food or whatever you want to say. Or you can say that something is famous because of something. 여긴 팥빙수로 유명해요. So this place here, this place is famous for its 팥빙수, for its shaved ice. It's shaved rice. Sounds gross. It's like grind rice, cut it in half, and then you put like red beans. It's like hard rice. You know, it's not even cooked. Okay, so this place is famous for shaved rice with sweetened red beans on it. So this place is famous for, I'll just say 팥빙수. 여긴 팥빙수로 유명해요. Okay, I have another example though. 저희 아버지도 같은 병으로 하셨어요. Okay. 저희 아버지. So 저희 is our. It's the polite, humble version of 우리. 저희 아버지도, so our father also, 같은, the same, 병. 병 is an illness, a disease, a sickness. 같은 병으로. So due to the same sickness, because of the same sickness, or from the same sickness. Disease, like that. 고생하다 is to suffer. 고생하셨어요. So honorific, he suffered from the same disease. So my father, did I say father? Oh, okay, I'll change that. Yeah. My father suffered from the same disease. 저희 아버지도 같은 병으로 고생하셨어요. So my father also suffered from the same disease. So your friend's like, oh, my dad has this whatever, and you're like, oh, my father also suffered from that same disease. So I understand, right? 저희 아버지도 같은 병으로 고생하셨어요. 으로, due to, because of, or in this case, from, right? Or you can even say suffered with that same disease. It could translate a lot of different ways. It's up to you, for, from, because of, with, due to. It doesn't matter. Just pick one. Pick whichever sounds best to you. Just keep in mind that the main purpose is it shows because of something, or the reason of something is this noun. So this is the reason why your dad was suffering, because of the same disease. Okay. So you'll see this a lot with, not just with this sentence, but you'll see a lot of other sentences where it's someone is sick with something, and they'll use this form as well to show what it is that they're sick with. You'll see it a lot for that. Okay, so that is all the main forms. That's not all of the forms, but that is all of the main forms we're going to discuss today in detail. But there are 3 other common uses. Actually, I should say for 으로, there are a couple more common uses, though, that we should talk about. Although we're not going to talk about them in detail. Another way that you will see 으로 is after 한자 words that end with 적. So this is 100% for intermediate learners. This is not for beginners. You don't need to worry about this at all. But I'm not going to tell you to go. Feel free to stick around. This is for intermediates for right now. If you're a beginner and you're like, okay, I'm only up to here, this is all I can take, just wait a bit. You can come back in 10 minutes or so, and we're going to do a short Q&A, so you could ask any questions for that. Okay, so another common place you'll see 으로 is after a 한자 word that ends with 적. There are a lot of these. For example, the 한자 word 역사 means history. Well, the 한자 word 역사 plus 적 means historical. So you can say like it's a historical book. 역사적인 책. You can say it's a historical movie. 역사적인 영화. Using 이다 here as in. So literally it is a movie that is a historical something. Or you can say the movie is historical. 영화는 역사적이에요, right? It is historical. Well, after these sort of words that end with 적, maybe that's for another lesson for the other stuff. After these sort of words that end with 적, the way to change this into an adverb is by attaching 으로. So now we have an adverb. 적 plus 으로 changes this into an adverb. So what's the adverb form of historical? Historically. 역사적으로 생각을 하면. So if you think of this historically, you could say whatever you want. It lets you make fancy sentences. You can change 적 words, all these words into adverbs. You can change this sort of word with 적 into an adverb simply by attaching 으로 to the end. I'm trying to think of another really, really, really common one that'd be good to know. Because a lot of the ones I can think of are like the technical words, like scientifically, historically, and engineer, economically, all that type of stuff. But anyway, there's a lot of these. We can do these in another lesson because there's really a long list of them. A lot of them I can think of are technical. But anyway, that's all you have to do to change this into an adverb form is you attach 으로. So just keep that in mind. It's a different use. We're not going to be going into detail for these last 2 also because they're kind of quick. Another one is that 으로 is used to show the order of something. So this will be used specifically with ordinals. Now, if you're not familiar with an ordinal, that's like saying first, second, third, etc. These are what's known as ordinals. They're just numbers that are used for counting the order of something, for telling the order. So that was the first thing, or he was the second person to do that. Any of these sorts of numbers, you'll attach 으로 after these numbers to mark that that's the order that something happened. So if you wanted to say I am first, you don't need to use this. You just say 1등. For example, first would be 1등, and 2등 for second place, 3등 for third place. So any sort of ordinal that shows the order of something. If you were to say 1등이에요, I am first place, the end. But if you want to say I came in first, or I won first, you did something as an adverb that's an ordinal, you'll attach 으로. So let me give you an example of that. And this is very common, but I guess it's still less common than the other uses. If I have to really compare, this is less common than the other uses, but you should still know this one. 1등으로. So in this order of being first. So if you were to just say, here, actually, let me write the whole sentence. 들어오다 is to enter in, to come in. So I came in first. 저는 1등으로 들어왔어요. So I came in first. If you were to just say 제가 1등 들어왔어요. That's like I came number one first. It doesn't have an adverb meaning to it. You have to add 으로 to any sort of ordinal, to any sort of order word to show that that's how it happened, to show that it's an adverb for the way that something happened. Whereas 1등 by itself just means the name of the first place. That's first place by itself. So I am first place. He was first place, like that. But if you want to say anything about it, like what was the order that something happened? So not just that, I am first, but that I arrived. Sorry, not just that I was first, but that I came in. And how did I come in? Well, I came in first, or in second, like that. You would also use this, and there's an example in the worksheet if you're saying like, first of all, let's talk about this. And you want to say for the first thing, for the first point, in the first thing I want to say is kind of how you'd have to do it. As an adverb, 첫 번째로. So first of all, you wouldn't just say 첫 번째, because that just means number one, but without any context to it. Doesn't mean like this is the first thing I'm going to say, just you're saying just the number one something. So it wouldn't make any sense. Anytime you want to use these sort of ordinal words, you need 으로 to show that sort of in first, in second, or first of all, like that sort of meaning to identify that you're going in order, and that's the order you're starting with. Oh, Summer! I just got another donation. Thank you, Summer. Let me write your name up here, and then I will do some dabs. We still have one more use also for 으로. It's short. Don't worry, we're almost done with these. Summer, thank you for everything you do. Oh, hold on. Let me do your 10 dabs first, and then I'm going to read your note. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. I really appreciate all your live streams and videos. They help me a lot with learning Korean, and I can feel how much work you put into them. 감사합니다. Shoo, shoo, shoo. I was like, I get it. I get what you're trying to say. Dab, dab, dab. Thank you, Summer. That's very, very kind. I appreciate it. Thanks. Okay. So there's one more common use. And again, you can just write these down. You don't have to stress about them. I'd recommend for these ones, learning them by seeing them used a lot. Okay. And finally, 으로서. Anytime you want to say anytime you want to say like in the position of, in the capacity of. So anytime you want to say in the capacity or position of some sort of job. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be a job. It can just be any position. So, president would also work. Any sort of position at a company, or just any sort of position in general. It could even just be like, your hobbyist or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a full-time, like a real job. Anytime you want to say something like this and you just want to talk about it. So you're not just saying like, I worked in the capacity of the company president or something. You're not just saying I worked as the president. You're saying, as the president, I do want to say something. I really believe, you're not talking about what you did in that capacity. You're simply saying as that person, as that position. So you're talking about it. This will often be at the beginning of a sentence. So if you want to start a sentence by just saying something like, as the president of this company, well, you're not talking about that position directly. You're not modifying it. You're not describing it. You're not doing anything with it. You're simply stating that's where you're going from. You want to use the particle uro서 instead of uro. Now, one note about this particle. It's not super commonly used in real Korean speech, but you'll find it in every textbook. But in real everyday speech, it's not going to be the most natural sounding form. It sounds a little bit formal, sounds a little bit fancy, as it does in English. As your president, as a Korean teacher, I do think that, that sort of meaning, it has that kind of feeling to it, like a fancy almost form. So it's good to know, but you don't need to use this every single sentence. You're not going to be using this in all of your conversations every day. So I'm going to give you an example of not a job, because I hope you understand what I mean by you would use it like that, saying like as the president or whatever, as your teacher. But I'm going to show you a different sentence, because I don't want you to think it's only for like a job. I got another donation. Evolving Brain. Let me write this up and then I'm going to check Evolving Brain's donation. I just saw the name. I think that's right. Oh. Okay. I wrote this up. Read it once, and I'm going to check who just sent me a $17 donation. Wow. Evolving Brain. Evolving. Wow. Let's check out what your message said. Right after some dabs. 17 dabs for Evolving Brain. Okay, now let's read your comment. Let's stand over here so the rest of you can check out what's on the board. Look at it for a moment. As for, to, of, with, from have many different meanings based on how they're used in English. Shooby-dooby-dooby-doo. Do you think uro is substantially different or is it basically the same? Many different meanings. Yes. Many different meanings based on how they're used. Uro is basically the same. Basically the same. And that's because in English we use different words for all of those forms. Uro. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Are you trying to ask if uro has so many different feelings to it? Or are you trying to ask if uro has so many different translations? Maybe you're saying uro, you're wondering if uro has that many different feelings to a Korean person. Like how we consider those words to be very different. Yeah, it has different meanings. It has different feelings. Some of them I can think some of them might feel similar. Like when you're choosing something kind of has the same feeling as towards something. Let me think for a second. Yeah, maybe it's kind of the same. Kind of has a little similar. Yeah, it's more similar, I'd say. Not the exact same. Like Koreans would recognize that they're different meanings. But it has like a similar feeling to it. And that's mine as a non-native. I would ask a native speaker to see if they have a different feeling about them. Obviously, like I said, they would know that they're different. But overall, I think they do kind of have that feeling of like you're going towards something, no matter which one you're using. Yeah, I would check with a native, though, to see if they have any different insight. Because, like, mine's 16 years as a Korean learner. A native would have, 16 years living in Korea, for example. Okay. So here's a sentence using 으로 that is not a job. So I wanted to show you, it doesn't have to be a job, but it has that feeling of in the position of some sort of person. In this case, 동물, animal, 사랑하다, to love, 사람, a person, 마음이 너무 아프네요. I feel so sad as a person who loves animals. 동물을 사랑하는 사람으로서 마음이 너무 아프네요. 동물을 사랑하는 사람으로서 동물 사랑하는 사람으로서 마음이 너무 아프네요. So I feel so sad as a person who loves animals. I just feel so sad as a person who loves animals. You know, hearing that news as a person who loves animals myself, I just feel so sad. That's what it means. So it's not a job, but it's in the position of this person. Now, you're not saying, I worked as a person who loves animals, in which case you don't need this 서 at the end. But you're saying, in my position as this, and then you say something based on that. So this is a different form, and it has that sort of meaning. But like I said, it has more of a fancy feeling to it. It's like, just like in English, as someone who loves animals, I do feel really sad. It has that sort of a little bit of a fancy feeling. Whereas you might just say in regular conversation, you might wonder then, what do I say to sound more, to sound the most natural? Well, you just say this. 마음이 너무 아프네요. 마음이 너무 아프다. I feel so sad. That's it. You could say, oh, I love animals too, and I feel so sad. You don't necessarily have to say, as a person who also loves animals, like, right? So it's totally correct. It's totally natural. But it's not the most common way. It's not super common to use this form. That's what I'll say. It's not super common to use it, even though it's natural to use it. It's not always necessary. And before I stop this part, I want to say 으로서 is not the same as 으로서. We're not going to be talking about this form today. That's a different form. You can look it up if you're curious, but it's for, it's for a different form. Anyway, so that is our lesson today. Really quick announcements. You can get the worksheet as well as the outline for this stream online on my Patreon page for all Patreon members. If you're a channel member, you also get to watch this abridged video. If you're a channel member, you also get to watch this abridged video tonight. As soon as this is done, I'll start editing. There's some new merchandise you can check out. I have one pinned in the chat. There's a Discord channel in the description. There's a link there you can join. It's open 24 hours. Lots of cool people in there. You can practice Korean, do whatever you want related to Korean. And thank you everyone for coming. Now I have a Q&A. So if you have any questions for the next 10 minutes, feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. 시청자로서 이 수업이 보고 not you want to say but as a viewer, I am watching this. That wouldn't be the 로서. That would be just 으로. As I said, because you're directly doing something. You're saying I'm watching. You could say 이 수업을 시청자로 보고 있어요. I'm watching this stream as a viewer, just like that. You wouldn't use the 로서 form for that. Yeah, and like I said, those forms are very similar. The just 으로 and 으로서, when you're using it to talk about that, it's like very slight difference. 한미 .com. Where'd the .com part come from? 한미. Hold on, let me write. I just saw that. Let me write Hanmi, your name here. Hanmi, thank you very much for your donation. For your $10 donation. Let me do some dabs after I turn this off. Okay. Hanmi, I'll read your note in a second. Okay. Mind blown. Oh, thank you, Hanmi. Appreciate both the donation and your nice message. I'm gonna buy so many pens, so many markers after this stream is done. I need a new box of both these colors. I still have plenty of purple, but I need more blue especially. Okay, now I can take a few questions. They'll just be first come, first serve. Lauren Holton, any tips to feel more confident? This would be a very big topic, but I'll give you the shortest possible condensed version. Make shorter sentences that you can feel confident in making. Instead of trying to make long sentences, make the shortest sentence that you can possibly make that conveys kind of what you wanted to say. So instead of feeling like nervous that I can't express, like, oh, I really would like to go see that show because I heard it'll be great. You won't feel confident saying that unless you've had a lot of practice already. So instead, just try to say, 너무 가고 싶어요. I really want to go. Or 정말 가고 싶어요. I really want to go to see the show. 보러 가고 싶어요. 정말 보러 가고 싶어요. Something really basic. I really want to go see it. That you can make that still conveys the same thing, that you can feel confident in. So try to instead say things that you do feel more confident in and make shorter sentences. And later on, make longer sentences as you feel more confident. But keep them short. It'll help you feel like I'm still speaking Korean instead of I'm too shy to say anything, so instead I'll just be quiet. So it's short sentences and speaking, or no sentences and not speaking. So that's what I would pick. And that's what I did too. Jordy, if you want to choose between places and you use uro, would that be natural or would it be confusing because it could also mean toward? It will not be confusing. But if you were to use it, like if someone says, where do you want to go? Do you want to go here or here or here? And you want to say, I want to go to there. It has the same meaning as saying toward. Like, 저는 서울로 갈래요. I'm going to go to Seoul. Like it could mean like I'll pick Seoul, but it doesn't really need to because like I said, the choosing, if you remember when I was explaining about choosing, it has that feeling of you're picking something toward, like you're leaning toward a choice. So it already has that same feeling of going towards somewhere. So there is no confusion. It's like the same thing pretty much to a Korean. So there wouldn't really be a need, like, do they know that I'm saying it's a choice or do they know I'm saying it's a direction? It's the same thing. Because like I said, it's the same type of feeling. 저는 파란색으로 샀어요. Zandria Waters. Nice sentence there. Ivana Madden, Patreon supporter here. Can you please make a video on how to say, I don't know how to say something and do something? I have done a live stream about how to say, I don't know how to do something. And that is, you should search for this. It's on my channel. 줄 알다 or 줄 모르다. And I did do a live stream about this. You can say, I don't know how to say something. 줄 알다 or 줄 모르다. Or 지 알다 and 모르다. And it's the same live stream where I cover all of this. It's a really big live stream topic. Although I made an abridged version, which I think is 20 minutes, this is one of the few lessons where I recommend watching the full 2.5 hour live stream. Well, actually, it's like 2 hours if you cut off the beginning and the end. It's like 2 hours long because I covered every usage of this type of form as well as this. So I recommend checking that out. That says like how to, like you might say, like, I don't know how to speak Korean. 한국말 할 줄 몰라요. 한국말 어떻게 하는지 몰라요. So there are two different, there are many ways you could say it. That the reason is there's at least two main ways you can say it, but there are a couple other extra ways you could say it. And I cover all of the main ones in that lesson. So check it out. And the reason I recommend the full version isn't because you need more explanation. It's because I want you to have more time to kind of take in everything from that lesson. But if you feel confident and you're okay pausing, watch the abridged version. Like it's just 20 minutes or so. Watch that and just pause frequently and think about things I'm saying and then, take notes and then unpause. That's totally fine too. I'm like 40 minutes behind the stream. I see. Legendier in Pimsleur. I don't like saying bad things about other resources, but Pimsleur has some good stuff and some bad stuff. I remember I learned the very first book I had for learning Japanese was a Pimsleur introductory Japanese conversation book, and it was great. I loved that book. But that doesn't mean all their stuff's good. They said that mokda is used when you're talking about yourself, and tsuruda is used when you're talking about something else. Someone else could be correct. Tsuruda, though, isn't really used as itself, though. Tsuruda will always be used in its honorific conjugation, tsushida. And that's what's known as honorific verb. That's an honorific verb. To learn about honorifics, I do have several videos on my channel if you search honorifics. And it would be used, yes, only when someone else is eating. But it doesn't mean when someone else is eating, you have to use it. If you use it, it has to be someone else. But it doesn't mean when you're talking about someone else eating, you have to use it, if that makes sense. So it's not required to use it. But yeah, for more information about that, check out the lessons, either my lessons or anyone's lessons about honorifics. And it's not that complicated. It's more of a concept that you have to learn first before you try to learn the verbs, because if you try to learn the verbs first, there's too many of them. If you learn the concept first, it's much easier to then learn all the other verbs because they all work the same way. Talk to me in Korean. Yeah, talk to me in Korean. They just released a, since Hyunwoo paid me, Hyunwoo was my first donation today. Since Hyunwoo paid me, I will advertise. They talk to me in Korean. No, I'm just joking. I would have told you about this anyway. Talk to me in Korean. They did release a new app just a few days ago. They already had an app, but it was only like, it just had the same stuff as the old lessons on the website. And I think that was it. Like you could just read the old lessons. And they have a new app, which has like all of their audio content and their books and everything like that. So yeah, it's much more useful if you're using Talk to Me in Korean to use the new app they have. The old app, I don't even know if it still works. They might be getting rid of it. So yeah, check that out. It's brand new. They just put it up a few days ago, so you might not have already heard of it. Or if you think you already have the app, you don't have the app, this is a new one from just a few days ago. Just check that out. Yeah, 홍보. Exactly. Yes, you can buy me, which is the reason why I don't do paid sponsorships, because I don't trust my own bias. If I tell you my opinion on something, I want you to trust that it's my real opinion on it and that I'm not being paid for that opinion. So because of that, I don't accept paid sponsorships from any apps or websites or books or anything. If you see anything on my channel, it's my own opinions, my own personal recommendations or stuff like that. I have gotten a lot of offers. It's not that companies don't ask me. I just don't reply. They ask me all the time. Have you posed for the thumbnail? Oh, no, I haven't. That's a good recommendation. Thanks. Maybe like that. Okay, I'm clapping to help myself remember it when I'm doing editing, so I'll clip that out. One of those. Kimchi soda, on the other hand. Yeah, kimchi soda. That is good. Yeah, kimchi soda, I am waiting for them to contact me about a collab, about a sponsorship deal. That one I will definitely reply to. But I'll tell you, if I ever do it, if they ever send them to me for free, I'll tell you that they send them to me for free. They didn't send these to me for free. I bought them with my own money. Okay. Billy is triggered. Oh yeah, before. I'm a beginner and currently studying with your videos. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for coming. Someone said, whoa, am I early? No, we just finished. I'm actually a few minutes over time. We're going to be stopping soon. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. It's Q&A time for just a couple more minutes, and then we'll stop for today. And I have to go edit this video. Okay. Let's see here. Legondir, I'd love to see a collab with someone who works in StarCraft 2. StarCraft specific vocab. I know nothing about StarCraft 2. I used to play StarCraft 1, but still not even that much to know like any of the terms except for the basic stuff that every Korean knows. You know, like some of the main units everyone knows, the teams everyone knows. But yeah, beyond that, I wouldn't be a good person for doing that because I'm not like a big StarCraft gamer. So let's see. Dexter said, would it be nice if there's a video for Nura? There are. I have several videos about Nurago. So just check that out on my channel. If you just search my channel for Nura or Nurago, you'll find a couple videos about it. At least 2 or 3. I think there are 3. Maybe there might even be 4. There's at least 3 though. Catherine, does Yoda speak in SVO in Korean Star Wars? I don't believe so. Everyone knows Yoda, the character, but I don't believe he speaks strangely in Korean. I'm trying to think if there's any quotes. Let me search, you know? I remember once looking up the quote, like, do or do not, there is no try. But let me check to see if there's a Yoda quote. I don't think so. I don't think he speaks really weird in Korean. See what he says. 하거나 하지 않거나 해보겠다는 건 없다. No, it just sounds normal. The thing is, because Star Wars, although I believe there was a dub, an older dub, when it was on TV of Star Wars in Korean, Koreans today who would watch it would just watch it with subtitles. I don't believe Yoda would speak strangely in them unless he did in the original dub. Like I said, this is like a geeky kind of thing. I don't think he did in the original dub either. I think he just speaks kind of normally. Like maybe a little bit old style speaking, but nothing like, do or do not. There is no try. Like, not like that. I think it's just more totally normal Korean in Korean, I believe. Korean Yoda. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I am kind of curious about that though, because sometimes characters will be different in the Korean dubs, or you know, sometimes the same. I know my kid watches a lot of SpongeBob, and the voice acting of that is great. You could tell who everyone is just by listening to it in Korean. Even if you didn't speak Korean, you can recognize all of the voices. SpongeBob sounds like SpongeBob. You know, Patrick sounds like Patrick. They all sound like, even Squidward has that nasally voice. Like, they all sound the same. It's great. Yoda, 나야, 이렇게 해야 되는 나는. Yeah, no, Yoda doesn't do that. Okay. Yeah, you can ask your Korean friend. Like I said, if you can find the dub of Star Wars and check, that would be a good place to start. But it wouldn't have been the most well-known version. I just remember hearing that there was a dub that was made for Korean TV, and I think you can find clips of it on YouTube, because I remember searching for that kind of thing too. Curious about that same question. Anyway, thank you for coming, everyone. I really appreciated it. I hope that you had a fun lesson. I hope that you learned something. I know not all of our lessons are for beginners, and most people are beginner level. Most of my live streams tend to be intermediate. So hopefully, though, you still got something out of it, whatever your level is. And I hope that you'll come back again next Sunday. We're going to do another live stream. I believe next Sunday is going to be an advanced topic. So yeah, make sure to come by for that. And I will see you again next time. That was all of our lesson today. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.